Now, this is quite a discovery. Fragments of a biblical scroll, along with other relics, have been found in desert caves in Israel.
Turkish authorities have confirmed that an ancient Bible thought to be 1,500 years old.
Imagine stumbling upon a 1,500-year-old book beneath Jerusalem's Dome of the Rock that completely contradicts the Bible. Meanwhile, in England, archaeologists have discovered a Bronze Age sword so expertly crafted it challenges everything we know about ancient warriors. What hidden truths lie just beneath the surface, waiting to rewrite our understanding of history? Join us as we uncover these mind-blowing revelations and explore how they could change our view of the past forever. The Bronze Age sword that shattered expectations. Near the Western Wall, archaeologists found a set of 3 rooms hidden behind a mosaic from the Byzantine period. These rooms, dating back about 1,600 years, contain pots and other artifacts. Their exact purpose remains a mystery, but they likely played a role in the ancient history of Jerusalem or the nearby Temple Mount. This discovery hints that many more secrets may be buried in the city, waiting to be unearthed. Another captivating tale comes from Turkey, where locals and visitors are drawn to stories of a dragon that once roamed the area. In Harput, an ancient region, a massive stone covering 250 square meters has been found. From above, it looks like a dragon. While it's not confirmed to be a dragon, the legend continues to attract tourists and keeps ancient stories alive. There were still lingering doubts about the origins of a mysterious brooch, but during the construction of a new airport, something unexpected happened. A graveyard of mammoth remains was discovered. As the bulldozers dug through the soil, they uncovered massive bones, quickly attracting the attention of archaeologists. The area became the center of careful excavations, revealing more about the giant creatures that once roamed this region. These findings are helping us better understand prehistoric life here, showing how new construction can sometimes lead to amazing discoveries. Soon enough bones were found to reconstruct about 60 mammoths, and experts believe there could be around 200 more still buried underground. The site was once a lake bed, now covered by layers of soil, and it holds many more bones waiting to be studied. While it's often believed that humans caused the extinction of North American mammoths, this discovery suggests there might be other factors involved. The research and digging are expected to continue for years to explore these new ideas. But then, something even more disturbing was found. A photo album made from human skin was discovered in a Polish marketplace. This album, covered in tattoos and emitting a strange smell, was sent to be studied at the former Auschwitz concentration camp. The skin came from people in one of the early Nazi camps, Buchenwald, but the creator of the album remains unknown. This album is a haunting reminder of the terrible crimes committed during the Nazi era. Meanwhile, as glaciers in Norway melt due to climate change, they have begun to reveal Viking-era artifacts. Among these were gloves, a broken walking stick, and a wooden whip found on an ancient trail leading to a significant Viking settlement. These objects, over 1,700 years old, were preserved remarkably well by the ice, suggesting that more discoveries could be made as the glaciers continue to recede. Books have always been cherished for spreading knowledge and sparking imagination, but some are known for their dark reputations. One such book is the Necronomicon, written by horror author H.P. Lovecraft. It is rumored to be bound in human skin and is said to have the power to bring the dead back to life. This chilling idea has fascinated and scared fans of the supernatural. Similarly, the Voynich manuscript has puzzled and intrigued people for decades. Its strange and mysterious content has captured the attention of many, including publishers who have tried to reproduce this enigmatic book. A manuscript on dark arts, believed to date back to the early 1700s, remains unreadable due to its mysterious code. Scholars have not yet been able to unlock the knowledge hidden within its pages, and some even suspect it might have otherworldly origins. The book is filled with detailed illustrations of plants, stars, and human anatomy. As we turn the pages, the ancient texts pull us deeper into their hidden tales, unlocking the forbidden pages of occult knowledge. Another ancient text, known as the Lesser Key of Solomon or Lemegeton, serves as a guide to the supernatural. It reveals magical practices and describes 72 demons that King Solomon supposedly summoned and controlled, each with its own unique symbol. Though it was written in the 17th century, Its origins go back even further, and the author's identity is still a mystery. The Orphan Story, written by a 17th century monk named Martin de Leon y Cardenas, tells the tale of a Spaniard searching for meaning across his country. Although it was written long ago, the manuscript was only published in 2018. Before that, a series of deaths occurred among those who tried to publish it, leading to beliefs that the book was haunted. The Aldara, a book deeply rooted in demonology, was thought to be lost forever after the death of its last known owner, John Dee, an English scholar with a dark interest in the occult. However, it resurfaced in 1994 when historian Deborah Harkness found two copies. The Aldara, written in Latin, contains grim rituals for summoning demons. Dee, who translated much of the work, reportedly went mad trying to solve the riddles in its final chapters. But this wasn't the worst part. Some say the book itself drove him to madness. The Book of True Practice in Ancient Divine Magic, supposedly written by Abraham of Worms, claims that each person has a personal demon. This 15th century text outlines rituals designed to control these beings. Many who owned the book reported being haunted by spirits after reading it, leading some to believe that the book might be cursed. The Grand Grimoire, often referred to as the Gospel of Satan, is considered one of the most dangerous books in occult circles. Written in the 16th century by someone believed to be possessed by demons, it contains spells powerful enough to summon demons and rituals to bring the dead back to life. Using this book is often seen as making a deal with the devil. But the scariest part? People say that once you use it, there's no turning back. The Codex Gigas, also known as the Devil's Bible, is famous for its massive size and dark history. It is said to have been written by a disgraced monk in a Bohemian monastery in the early 13th century. The Codex features a frightening picture of the devil and includes the entire Bible along with many dark rituals. The legend goes that the monk, facing severe punishment, made a deal with Satan to complete the Codex in just one night. However, finishing the book wasn't the end of the story. Some believe the monk paid a terrible price for his deal. The story of the nameless grimoire is one that most people have never heard. This mysterious book first surfaced in an online auction in 2013, where it sold for $3,865. The grimoire came with a stern warning. Anyone who dismisses its content as mere fiction could face deadly consequences. In the world of the occult, it's common to destroy books like this after the owner dies to eliminate any lingering evil. The book, written in the 1960s by a dark figure named Papin Adrestia Irena, is filled with spells, incantations, and rituals that involve summoning demons. Then there's Tomino's Hell, a chilling poem by Japanese writer Yomota Inoue. Published in 1919 as part of the collection The Heart is Like a Rolling Stone, it tells the heartbreaking story of Tomino, a young boy haunted by the deaths of his father and sisters. The poem is steeped in sorrow and guilt, creating a heavy, oppressive atmosphere. Some believe that reading the poem aloud could bring about your death. The old manuscripts whisper of celestial beings and human stories waiting to be discovered. The angels who altered humanity's path. The Book of Enoch is another ancient text that has sparked much debate and discussion. It explores deep aspects of human history and was particularly significant during the late Second Temple period. Despite its importance, Enoch's writings were left out of the main Jewish and Christian texts, meaning many people don't realize it's not part of the Christian Bible. The first sections of the book talk about the Watchers, angels who were supposed to watch over humans, but ended up committing serious sins. These controversial texts are key to understanding our ancestors' stories, offering both challenges and opportunities for readers today to uncover the hidden historical and spiritual meanings. But there's more to the story. As human populations grew long ago, the daughters of humans caught the eye of the Watchers, heavenly beings who lived in the skies. Consumed by desire, these angels abandoned their divine duties, took human wives, and fathered a hybrid race. This led to many changes on Earth. Humans started seeking knowledge and improving their surroundings, but the Watchers interfered, giving them forbidden knowledge. They taught humans skills like writing, making weapons, and even how to enhance their appearance with makeup. This quick spread of knowledge sped up human progress, but also took away the joy of discovering things on their own. One of the Watchers, Azazel, showed humans how to forge iron swords, create tools for war, and mine precious metals, which changed human life dramatically. However, this was just the beginning. The ability to apply makeup and craft gold and silver jewelry quickly spread, leading people away from their humble beginnings and into moral decline. Ancient writings reveal cosmic stories that blur the line between reality and fiction. The Book of Enoch, an ancient but often overlooked text, tells these tales. It describes a stone sanctuary in the sky meant to hold the souls of the dead, waiting for Judgment Day. The Apostle Paul's letters in the New Testament echo similar themes, promising a day when the faithful will rise to join their Creator. In Enoch's writings, the story of the fallen angels is different from other tales of rebellion. Here, the angels fall not because of pride, but because of forbidden love, leading to the birth of the Nephilim, giant beings who cause great destruction on earth. This mix of divine overreach and human error eventually led to the Great Flood, a divine act meant to cleanse the world of its deep corruption. But the story doesn't end there. Enoch played a special role. He was chosen by God to announce divine punishment to the fallen angels. Meanwhile, the Nephilim, these enormous giants, consumed Earth's resources at a terrifying rate and even turned to cannibalism when food ran out. The chaos caused by the Nephilim brought about the Great Flood, which wiped out not just human wickedness, but also the havoc they had caused. The text also talks about Sheol, an ancient concept of the underworld divided into 4 sections. One for the rich who led good lives, one for the poor who were virtuous, one for the deceitful rich, and one for the deceitful who suffer, all waiting for their final judgment. These early cosmic stories and heavenly missteps create a complex picture of how divine beings interacted with humans, shaping our ideas of right and wrong. In these ancient stories from the Book of Enoch, Abel, the son of Adam, plays an important role in helping those who lived righteous lives, representing them in the spiritual world. In one part, Enoch is given a vision of a new Eden, a paradise where the virtuous will live forever, enjoying the fruit of the tree of life after divine judgment. The Book of Enoch is full of heavenly stories. In one memorable scene from chapter 18, Enoch comes across vast celestial storerooms filled with winds and mountains that shine with precious gems. Even more surprising, he looks over the edge of the earth into a massive, seemingly endless pit. Enoch's journey leads us through amazing celestial realms and forgotten histories. Enoch's exploration beyond Earth. Enoch soon finds more heavenly vaults that control weather events like hail and fog, and even the cycles of the sun and moon. The third part of the text, called the Astronomical Book, gives a detailed description of how celestial bodies move, almost like a thrilling journey through various heavenly gates, explaining the seasons. Enoch's travels, guided by angels, offer insights into both the workings of the heavens and the structure of the earth. While these stories might seem unbelievable, they actually match up with ancient beliefs that the earth was a flat disk under a dome-like sky, with stars fixed above and different layers of heaven stacked on top. The story gets even more interesting with the birth of Lamech's son, who is incredibly unique. His skin is as white as snow, his hair is like wool, and his eyes shine so brightly that they light up everything around him. This child with a divine heritage adds another fascinating layer to the stories in the Book of Enoch. And then there's the tale of the lost tribes of Israel. After Moses' death, these tribes spread out, with only a few remaining known through history. Theories about where they ended up range from England to the Ethiopian Jews recognized by Israel, and even to connections with Native American heritage. The second book of Enoch goes into great detail about the different levels of heaven. The first heaven has a vast ocean bigger than any on earth, which explains where rain comes from. The second heaven is home to rebellious angels, and the third is a dark place where souls suffer eternal torment. The story keeps climbing through 10 layers of heaven, with the 8th level controlling seasons and zodiac signs, and the top, the 10th heaven, being the divine home known as Erebath. As Enoch explores these celestial realms, he gains deep knowledge of creation, secrets so profound that even the heavenly beings don't fully understand them. This wisdom, found between chapters 24 and 36, is the peak of Enoch's otherworldly journey, weaving together a grand story that connects the earth with the divine and history with legend. Before our world as we know it existed, the Lord had a plan for creation. He called forth a being from the darkest depths named Adol, who brought the Lord's vision to life. To rule over this creation, the Lord built a magnificent throne for himself. After that, he summoned light to form the foundations of the heavenly realm. He appointed his second son, Aruka, as the cornerstone of the earthly world. From the ancient waters, he shaped huge stones to create a solid dome above the waters. He made the heavens, the sun, the stars, all from fire, and brought into being armies of spiritual beings, along with plants, fish, reptiles, birds, mammals, and finally, humanity. But these are not the only revelations. The Book of Enoch, packed with deep insights, sheds light on many parts of human history. The second book dives into detailed stories about the cosmos, weather, and the creation of the universe. A story that was discovered accidentally by shepherds searching for a lost sheep. These shepherds stumbled upon the Dead Sea Scrolls, hidden in clay jars inside caves near Qumran, a small village north of the Dead Sea, around 1946 to 1947. During Roman rule in Judea around 66 CE, the Essenes, a devout group, quickly hid their most sacred texts inside these jars, storing their library in the caves. These discoveries changed what people thought they knew about history. The scrolls included a wide variety of texts, almost every book of the Hebrew Bible, various Jewish religious texts, official documents, and even personal records like marriage and divorce papers. Many non-biblical writings from the Second Temple period, which were once banned, were preserved by early Christians. Books like Tobit and Judith survived in Greek and other translations, and even some writings falsely attributed to famous authors were kept and translated, preserving their stories through time. Ancient scrolls from desert caves challenge what we know and hint at a complex past. The dark corner of the Dead Sea Scrolls. At first, people thought it was a religious commune for the Essenes, but later studies suggest it served different purposes over time, from a military outpost to a pottery workshop, reflecting the changing needs of its residents. However, the biggest mystery remains: who actually wrote the Dead Sea Scrolls? Some evidence points to various groups working together, each trying to gain religious and political influence during those turbulent times. A recent study of the Great Isaiah Scrolls handwriting suggests that two scribes probably worked together to write this long document, showing the careful and collective efforts to preserve these ancient texts. Researchers using artificial intelligence discovered that the scrolls were written by two different scribes, as shown by a slight change in handwriting partway through. While their writing looks almost identical to most people, it's likely they had similar training or came from the same school, indicating they worked around the same time. But this wasn't the biggest surprise. The Dead Sea Scrolls differ from the modern Bible in some important ways. For example, Psalm 32 isn't in the scrolls but is in today's Bibles. And there are extra psalms in the scrolls that aren't in the modern text. This raises questions about what the original content of the Bible really was. The scrolls also mix devotional poetry with biblical psalms, adding more layers to their meaning. John H. Walton, a scholar from Chicago's Moody Bible Institute, has pointed out how recent findings might change how we understand the Bible. The Dead Sea Scrolls have shown us a different way of passing down these religious texts, which makes us question some of our long-held beliefs. This discovery is important for both Jewish and Christian communities. It shows how carefully Jewish scribes preserve their traditions. The texts they found are almost exactly like those in the Hebrew Bible we have today, which is the basis for the modern Old Testament that dates back to around 1000 AD. But this wasn't the only interesting part. The discussion about these scrolls has been quite heated. At first, only a few scholars were allowed to study them, which led to accusations that they were hiding information. This controversy even led to a book called Dead Sea Scrolls Deception, which accused these scholars of keeping secrets. The authors of this book, Michael Bajan and Richard Lee, believe that the scrolls tell a more complicated story about Christianity than we previously thought. The Dead Sea Scrolls have fascinated historians for a long time and sparked many debates, especially because some of the people involved were connected to the Vatican. One of the biggest questions is whether the scrolls could include the Gospel of Mark, as suggested by Dr. Robert Eisenman. Among these scrolls, a piece called 7Q5 has caught a lot of attention. It was found in a cave at Qumran and has been hard to match with any known biblical texts. In the 1960s, a scholar named Father Jose O'Callahan suggested that it might be a passage from Mark chapter 6, verse 52. However, many experts have doubts about this idea. Using advanced techniques like carbon dating and handwriting analysis, researchers have determined that this fragment is older than the earliest Christian texts, making it unlikely that it's from the Gospel of Mark.
A forbidden text. The Bible itself, far from being just divine guidance, is full of puzzling and often violent stories, showing not just hope, but also themes of violence, injustice, and darkness. This makes us wonder, why was the Book of Enoch left out? And who was Enoch surrounded by so much mystery? Enoch appears in various religious traditions, but is rarely mentioned in regular church teachings, despite his significant role. In the Old Testament and the Jewish Tanakh, Enoch is known as the seventh patriarch after Adam, the father of Methuselah, and the great-grandfather of Noah. A key verse in Genesis says, "And Enoch walked with God, and he was no more, for God took him away." This has led to much speculation about what it means to walk with God and how he left earth. Many think Enoch did not die as most do, but was taken alive into heaven by God. In Islamic tradition, Enoch is known as Idris, honored in the Quran as a prophet and a man of truth and righteousness. Like Enoch, Idris is said to have been raised to heaven, confirming his high status with the divine. Outside the Quran, stories of Idris highlight his wisdom, his contributions to religious and scientific knowledge, and his leading role among prophets. But this isn't the end of the story. The mysteries surrounding Enoch continue to capture the imagination of those who seek to understand his true significance. As we explore these ancient texts, we must ask ourselves, what else is waiting to be uncovered, and how might it change our understanding of history? Many scholars now look to Enoch's writings to understand humanity's earliest stories, especially the special relationship between God and Enoch, who was chosen as his messenger. The Ethiopian Orthodox Church also has several unique books not found in other branches of Christianity, marking it as one of the oldest and most unchanged forms of the faith. Today, historians often turn to Africa to study these preserved parts of Christian history. The oldest version of the Book of Enoch, for instance, is kept in Ge'ez, an ancient Ethiopian language. For linguists, translating Ge'ez is like translating Latin, making it somewhat straightforward. As a result, the European versions of the Book of Enoch are considered authentic and unchanged. It shows humans as capable of great good or great evil, with divine guidance leading them toward righteousness. Ethiopian Orthodox scholars see these forces of good and evil as natural parts of life, with our duty being to fight evil and strive for goodness. They argue that its unique descriptions of angels and the apocalypse suggest questionable origins. As debates over the Bible's contents unfold, we wonder what truths were left out and why. The Secret Chronicles of Christianity's Lost Texts. The history of the Bible is indeed fascinating. In the centuries following Christ, various texts about Jesus' life, the teachings of the apostles, and other spiritual writings spread among Christian communities. These documents were accepted to different degrees. Key texts like the four Gospels, the Acts of the Apostles, and Paul's letters became central to church teachings. However, disagreements over their interpretations led to debates about what should be officially recognized in the Bible. Over time, it became necessary to establish a clear set of scriptures to avoid misleading teachings. The first lists of approved scriptures were initially broad but became more selective. At the councils of Hippo in 393 and Carthage in 397, the New Testament was formalized, including 27 books accepted by all Christian communities. The criteria for including these texts were strict, focusing on apostolic origins and consistency with accepted doctrines, leading to the exclusion of texts that did not align. The exclusion of certain texts, like the Book of Enoch, meant that many valuable insights and perspectives were left out of the mainstream Christian narrative. As a result, the history and understanding of early Christianity became limited to the chosen texts. Even today, the discussion continues about what other ancient writings might have been lost or ignored, and what they could reveal about the early days of the Church. This ongoing exploration reminds us that the story of Christianity is more complex and varied than the official versions may suggest, inviting us to look deeper into the past to uncover hidden truths. The story of how the Bible was created is often told from a specific viewpoint, sometimes focusing more on control than on true spiritual freedom. Many believe that thousands of documents, including lesser-known Gospels and early Christian writings, are hidden in the Vatican's vaults. This raises questions about why they weren't included in the Bible. In the mid-1940s, a bunch of ancient Christian and Jewish texts were found in a cave near the Dead Sea. Some of these, like the Book of Enoch, offer a different perspective on early Christianity and the life of Jesus. The term apocrypha refers to writings about Jesus' life and Old Testament events, created from around 1200 BC to the 2nd century AD. These documents, which are not in the current Bible, aren't officially recognized as apocryphal. Some of them tell different versions of well-known stories from both the Old and New Testaments. However, other writings present a very different picture from what major religious institutions, especially the Catholic Church, teach. These texts sometimes portray a very different image of the Messiah and other biblical events. When the Bible was first put together in the 3rd century AD, no one who had actually seen the events described was still alive. The creation of the Bible, or canon as we know it today, was probably motivated by more than just recording history. It seemed there was an intention to guide and change the Christian story right from the beginning. But that's not all. One of the most significant texts left out is the Gospel of Thomas, discovered in 1945 in Nag Hammadi. This gospel is considered a nearly complete account of Jesus' life, though it tells some events differently. Thomas is not accepted by mainstream church authorities, but he is seen as one of the most credible authors. He described a relatable Jesus who simplified his teachings to just 2 commandments: speak and act with honesty. In his accounts, Jesus emphasized compassion and kindness. These texts, written between 60 to 250 AD, begin with, "These are the hidden words that Jesus spoke," which Judas Thomas recorded. Anyone who understands the 114 verses of this scripture will conquer death and find the path to eternal life. Lost Gospels may reveal surprising stories that challenge what we think we know about early Christianity, unveiling hidden truths. But this wasn't the worst part. The Bishop of Alexandria was particularly opposed to certain Gospels, like those of Thomas, Philip, and Truth. Instead of destroying them as he was supposed to, their protectors hid them away, where they remained hidden for nearly 2,000 years. Moreover, Mary was not much favored in the early church. They often minimized women's roles in the scriptures, adopted biased attitudes against women, and ignored female apostles or disciples. Less-known documents show that Jesus surrounded himself with as many women as men and shared a strong bond with Mary Magdalene. While today's Bibles depict her as a sinner, some texts suggest she was actually a close confidant, or even possibly Jesus' partner. The Gospel of Mary focuses less on his personal life, but more on the events after Jesus' death. The first Apocalypse of James, likely written in the 3rd century by followers of Valentinianism, recorded alleged conversations between Jesus and his brother James about secret codes that could unlock paradise. Emperor Constantine was not supportive of such ideas and officially banned this apocalypse in the 4th century. However, this document also survived and was rediscovered in 1945 at Nag Hammadi. After examining Ethiopia's unique scriptures, we will explore other forgotten writings and unusual translations that reshape our understanding of the Bible. But that's just part of the story. In tales about giants in ancient lands, the books of Adam explore the struggles of Adam and Eve, especially their interactions with Satan. These narratives, available in various languages and versions, offer insights into Adam and Eve's life after their expulsion from paradise, including references to the Nephilim, offspring of human women and giants acknowledged in the official Bible, and Seth, their 3rd son. Enoch, one of the Old Testament's 7 patriarchs, receives only a brief mention in the Bible despite his unique role. He was directly connected to Noah and Jesus, and remarkably, he was taken to heaven alive by God due to his righteous life. His important book was excluded from the Bible, likely because the church wanted to maintain the idea of ascending to heaven as unique. The Solomon Islands, located just east of Papua New Guinea, are known for their breathtaking scenery and colorful coral reefs. Many locals believe that these islands were once home to giant beings called the Nephilim, who were around about 1,000 years ago. The first Europeans, led by Alvaro de Mendana in 1568, came searching for great wealth. They named the islands after King Solomon, famous for his riches. Today, large-scale mining has brought up environmental worries, and people living there are cautious about possibly waking up these legendary giants. But this isn't the biggest concern they have. An anthropologist named Marius Boiraillon has studied the stories about giants on the Solomon Islands. After marrying a local woman, he became a part of the community there. In his book, from 2010, he describes these giants, saying they stood about 10 feet tall, had unique features, and lived in complex societies. He shares scary local tales about meeting these giants, showing how strongly the community believes they exist. Yet these tales are just part of the mystery. In the Solomon Islands, legends of giants and ancient tales hint at hidden histories waiting to be discovered. Giants of the Hidden Islands. The islands themselves are like a hidden paradise, with thick jungles and secret mountains that few outsiders have explored. It's a mysterious place, mostly untouched by the modern world, where people still think giants wander. One of the most fascinating local stories is about a girl named Mungo, who disappeared when she was young and came back 25 years later, pregnant. She said she lived with a giant and had a son who looked just like them. Sadly, her son was eliminated when he was 5 because of how he looked. Mungo was deeply troubled for the rest of her life. Some say they know where her son is buried, but no one has tried to dig it up to learn more. But this wasn't the worst part of her story. The Old Testament mentions the Nephilim briefly, describing them as the